Okay, welcome to my channel. I gotta fix this camera later, but I'll do it. Tripod, I'll do it later. Okay, before we start, let me share my links with you. On Etsy store, on Nix's store, now I know she has a code that says Nix10, but I have a special code. Linda 15. That will get you 15% off rather than 10. On daydream.com, she will be moving over to the Etsy store, but right now you can still go to her site, and the code is Dreamer15 for 15% off. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to talk about friendship. There's all kinds of friendships in there. You have your child friendships, and often they are temporary. I remember having a friend named Tammy when I was in grade school. It actually continued till while her father died in a terrible plane crash. I mean, it made the news because they were looking for him, and I know another plane went in search of him. They crashed and died. They found their plane. They finally found his plane because the snow had melted and revealed the plane, and they were gone. They found out Christmas morning, and we just didn't see her around, and they eventually moved. So the friendship kind of ended there. And then I had a friend named Mitzi. Now, how Mitzi and I met, see, I wasn't like my brothers and sisters. My mother moved around a lot. And then, you know, when you move up, you're going to miss your friends and you throw a fit. I got to the point where I says, why bother? She's just going to move us. So the friends I had is because they kind of pushed it. And that's what happened with Mitzi. Mitzi would say hi, and I usually wouldn't answer her. Then one day, she said, I was walking, and she seen me, and she says, why is it I'll tell you hi, and you never answer back? Well, we were friends from that day on. Then I went to live with my dad. Big mistake. And years later, so we lost contact. Well, a year later, and I had already had a child and stuff. My sister ran into her and talked to her. She wanted me to come visit. Okay. So me and my sister go to her house. We didn't stay but maybe 10 minutes. Those were the longest 10 minutes of my life. We were best friends at school, but people change, and not that there was anything wrong with her, but it was different. It was like I was looking at a stranger. I never went back. Often jealousy can enter a friendship. When I went to live with my father the first time, it was junior high, and I had met this girl, and we became friends. Now, there's another girl who nobody liked. I mean, she was a little strange. Here she was, 13 years old. She played with dolls. She was teased for that. And she was just kind of strange, like we had a field trip to go to the zoo, and she sees this ape, and she goes, oh, it's got tits just like a woman. In public, embarrassed the tar out of everybody. Well, when the only friend she had was this girl, and we became friends, and we started hanging out. Now I didn't care if she was friends with her or not. I just didn't want her hanging out with me, and we were always hanging out. Well, she became extremely jealous. I guess she felt that she lost a friend. She wanted her friend back, and she thought the only way to do that was to lie, to get the other girl mad at me. Well, that's what she did. And when the girl fronted me, I said, I didn't say that. And I went and jacked her up in front of her to such a point we were called in the principal office, all three of us. And I said right there, I says, I don't tell her who to be friends with. I says, I don't like the girl. If she does, that's fine. But how am I to blame because she doesn't want to hang out with her? I don't control who she hangs out with. Have any of you ever had a friend that somebody was jealous of and tried to cause trouble? You know, I'm a real loyal friend. I really am. If you're my friend, I will go to hell and back. I will have your back. Right or wrong, I'm going to have your back. Now, if I think you're wrong, I may say something private. But publicly, I'm going to have your back. And I guess I expect everybody else to be that way, and there isn't. I had a friend, and sometimes I need to listen to people. Um, when I lived in Gabs, there was a girl nobody liked, and my other friend kept telling me, Linda, you should be friends with this person, da da this, da da that. I didn't listen because I judge people on how they judge me. And I don't care who likes it. And I was friends with this girl. I didn't listen. Well, two things were happening. I found out she was later on with proof. She was talking negatively about me. Two, she volunteered to take care of my horses because my then husband and I had to go from Nevada to Kansas because his baby's mama committed suicide, and apparently this child had been in foster care for a while before they found out him. So we were going up there to take care of this situation, possibly see if we could get the child, that sort of thing. She volunteered to feed the horses. And I said, you got to go twice a day. Here's the key to the barn. Let me show you how much to feed them. The whole bit. Well, as it turns out, when she did go down there, she was smoking, throwing the cigarette in the manure. Well, it burns. Somebody had to go put it out because at that point it was just smoking. Thank God they found it early enough. People were throwing food to my horses because she was not feeding them. And I had this game thing, you put there, and I told her she could play with it, but in the house, she could not take it to her house. Well, I call it stealing. She took it. So I went and got it back. Husband came back. He said, didn't you give her permission? I said, no, I did not. I told her if she wanted to play with it, she had to play with it in the house. And I said, secondly, your wife did not go down there like she says she would. I could have found somebody else. My horses were going hungry. You guys were smoking cigarettes down there when you did go. That's not acceptable. I entered the friendship right there and then. Then I was lied to by these people. Said, we need somebody to care for our dogs. We got to go get a hotel room while we search for a place in Fallon. But we can't take the dogs with us. We'll give you the food. Yeah. No, they abandoned it. And that's when I learned they had mistreated the dogs. Well, when they did, I gave the Cocker Spaniel, which she got from me, away to no home. And they were worried. I said, don't worry about it. They abandoned it. They had food. I ain't heard from them for a freaking month. Then the cop comes to my house about the dogs. I says, these are not my dogs. I'm not paying any fine. They says, no, you're not. But I says, I got to get rid of this dog. And I was ordered by the court, local police department, courts, whatever you want to call it, that I had to keep the dog to after the court date. Okay, court date comes, and they didn't ask me. What the judge did is stripped him of ownership, gave me custody of the dogs. I wasn't at that court date. The reason she got a ticket was because of the lab. She had beaten and mistreated this dog so bad, it became a severely fear biter. In fact, when the cop came over, the dog tried to bite the cop. All the cop did go to do is reach down and pet him, and he went to snap at him. What made me realize they had mistreated him was because the first night that he was there at my house, I hear this whining, this barking, and it wouldn't stop. So I says, well, I'll go out and I'll crack the dog. When the dog seen me coming, it just cringed like he thought he was going to get beat. Stopped me dead in my tracks, and I went back inside. He says, did you discipline the dog? I says, I couldn't. I says, you should have seen the eyes of that dog, its reaction. I says, I can't. And it came very apparently this dog had been mistreated. I would have actually kept the dog, but I had a 6-foot fence. Like, you ever go see, the school, those tall fences? That's the fence I had. That's the fence I had. That dog could clear that like it was nothing. And I knew the dog would come back. The problem was, and I knew it wouldn't just go after somebody, but if a kid went up to it and said, puppy, 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 they're going to get bit. So I called not one, not three, but 4 dog trainers who all told me the same thing. He says, what you got is a fear biter. And there is nothing that can be done about that. If you cannot keep your dog and he's clearing that fence, it's going to be a liability. Our recommendation is probably to have it put down. In the end, because I tried everything, I even put a chain, put the dog in the kennel, plus a chain. The only problem, he still tried to go over the fence, hanging there choking, and I'd have to go rescue him. After a month of trying, I made an appointment, put a muzzle on him, took him to the vet, and he was put down. That ended the friendship. And then you get the friends, they're supposed to be your friend, but they're two-sided. They play, instead of being honest, they tell you, well, I know you don't like that person, but I'm friends with them. Instead, they play two sides, They tell you, oh, I hate that person, I don't like them, da-da-da-da this, da-da that. And then they go back behind and tell the other person same freaking thing. playing two sides against the other. And I experienced that. I used to babysit little Christopher. We were friends. A person lived there. I thought they were a friend, but they weren't, because why he would do it, but he was going back telling the mother this and all these little lies, and she was just buying into it. She eventually learned it wasn't true when I confronted him. And I've seen it in the community. Um, I'm not a fair weather friend, and when Sherry was attacked, I did lose subs because I wasn't following the sheep. And one time, Esky and another person, both my subs, got into it, and I told them both. I says, "Listen up, both of you are my friend, and I'm not picking sides. I'm not getting period. So, and I won't tolerate either one of you talking bad about the other on my channel or anything else." And they understood. Of course, it came out that one realized she was wrong. It wasn't what she thought. She apologized to Esky, but Esky never quite recovered. Because these people on this app will assume the creators tell them the truth. That you know. I'm careful about who I talk to off, you know, people online. I talk to Nix. I talk to Debbie. I used to talk to Diamond Nana. I do not anymore. She's 86th. Now Anita. So oh shoot, 3 people. Because I've seen too much. I've seen 2 creators be friends, and then if they get in an argument, the other ones go telling everybody what they said. And that's the thing. If you're talking to somebody off from group or whatever, another creator, careful what don't give your personal information out that you're going through, because what I've seen happen, then as soon as the argument comes through, and that happened to Sherry, the other person tells it. And my question when that thing was going on with Sherry, people who claimed to be Fred bailed ship. I did not bail ship. Because people are behind their keyboards, keyboard warriors or whatever you want to call it. Okay, what color do? 17. There's just all kinds of 54 friends in this world. And really, people online that you talk to, that you may FaceTime, but you never talk to, seen them face to face, they're truly not your friend. They're acquaintances. Acquaintances are people, like you'll go outside, you see your neighbor, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" They're acquaintance. Okay, they're not somebody you really hang around with, especially in real life. Um, you just see them once in a while, or you talk to them once in a while. They're acquaintances. If you ask me, you're better off with an animal. They're more loyal than humans. I went to do the yard because POA's having a fit about the leaves, but my blower went kaput. It's not safe to use. So, of course, I got to replace it. Payday. It's just too much to try to wake up it. What for? And have you ever noticed if you get a divorce, it's like your friends divide up too. It's like they got to choose sides, and you don't know. On TikTok, that fancy girl, oh, she's nuts. She goes wild on her lives, really wild. But she had a sidekick that always did her videos with her. They ain't friends no more. When the sidekick started noticing things about her, and they only known each other 5 weeks, decided to distance herself, actually wrote a letter of resigning as a mod. And since then, this girl's like stalking her. She blocks her and she makes a new account. It sneaks into her lives, and it's crazy. It is crazy. You can't know somebody in 5 weeks. Me, takes a long time. And sometimes if a friend tells you something about another friend of yours, you need to listen. I'm not saying to take them at their word, because I've also seen people who get jealous. Both of you are friends and they can't deal with it, and so they'll try to badmouth the other. And but if they show you proof, screenshots, whatever, then you gotta believe them. I recently ended a friendship, if you call it that, with Diamond Nana Melissa. I've got her blocked on everything. I'm not going to discuss why, because I'm not going to blast her on this channel. Um, I am not going to tell you things that she has told me during our friendship on phone conversations, because that is wrong. And that's not what I do. Anyways, happy diamond painting, and I will catch you later.